Sorry again. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Kubeir. So nice to see everybody again. Today is a very nice and a bright, warm, sunny day here in Toronto, and I'm so happy to be back in Toronto. For those of you who did not know, there was this 2.5 month stint that I spent in Dubai looking after certain businesses there. But now that we are back, it's so good to be back. And I was welcomed by this huge trash of my backyard, which needs to be mowed, which I actually did. And I will put that up in the Instagram stories in a bit. I actually did manage to clean and clear my backyard, which was quite satisfying. If you haven't started following us on Instagram yet, then you should. And if you are not subscribing to this channel, then I think you should, because, you know, we post a lot of quality content. What are we going to talk about today? Well, you see, there has been so many things that have been happening in the last few days, which to be very honest, some of them were prompting whether you need some sort of vaccination, which you don't at this point of time. I would like to say that there is no requirement of vaccination at this point of time to come to Canada. So that was the first thing I wanted to say. And I know it because, hey, I came to Canada just 4-5 days back. Today is quarantine day number 5. So yeah, there was absolutely no requirement for you to have had any vaccination. So everybody who's talking about the fact that you need to have a certain type of vaccination, well, it's not correct. It's not true. So please do not get into that rigmarole of what kind of vaccination is needed. As of right now, just get yourself vaccinated. That, I guess, is the most desirable outcome of the situation. I mean, outcome would be later, but that would be the most desirable thing to do. Today's discussion is quite a broad, generic one. We are not talking about anything specific. Today is something which I just wanted. We haven't done it in quite some time. So I thought, okay, we'll just get back and do this live question and answers. Your questions, my answers. We'll take some questions because we're doing this live right now on Instagram as well as on YouTube. So we'll go both. We'll take some questions which are there on Instagram as well as questions that come on YouTube. If you do not have a coffee in your hand or a cup of tea in your hand, then go and grab one, because today we're going to take it easy. You're going to have a real long one. We'll try and answer as many questions that you have. Because you know what? I don't have anywhere to go. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's quarantine. There is no going out. There is no rushing to any place. So we may as well just jam in and rock it with you. All right. So first question, let's say Asad Khan is saying, any update on Newfoundland skilled worker EOI program? Well, no, there has been no update on that program. They opened in January. It was a spectacular program from the criteria, because I think they are the only program that I know of who offer more points if you are older. So the older you get, more points you get, kind of a thing. So it was quite an exciting program. No, but there has been no update as of right now. Milan Patel on Instagram says, when can I expect my PR under TR to PR? Wow. Okay. There was a press conference with Minister Marco Mendicino, and he said that they intend to finalize most of the applications under the TR to PR by December 31st this year. The idea from the beginning, from the outside, for TR to PR was that they were looking to achieve their immigration quota, and the fastest way of doing that was to offer this option to people who are already inside Canada, because the processing is faster. A lot of things they don't need to do because people are already inside Canada. Plus, for TR to PR, they have made a lot of exemptions as well, right? For example, your old medicals were allowed. There was hardly any criteria. So if you were eligible, if you were able to apply, then the chances are that the application is going to roll pretty quick. And if that happens, well, then you're getting through the whole program, as long as you were eligible under the stream. They also released their program update, I think also about a few days back, 4 to 5 days back. That was the operational program update that IRCC issued. That strictly defined under what criteria you will be assessed. I mean, not that we did not know the criteria already, but it just defined certain things which were not already available to people. So If you applied under TR to PR, in most cases, you can expect to have that application finalized by the end of this year. All right. So that's the TR to PR. But yes, AORs have started trickling in. I mean, it's not really that everybody's been getting their AORs. So you will need to hold your horses a bit for that one. But they are trickling in the sense like people have started getting it. I would expect probably another month or so until we see most of the applications receive their AOR. Until such time, just wait on, hold on. I know a lot of you have made some mistakes. Oh, okay, hold on. I know a lot of you have made some mistakes in your application, a lot of things which were missed out. Well, you will need, or rather, I would recommend, I know there are some other people who are saying that just upload on the web form and just send it on a web form. It's a hit or a miss kind of a thing, because the web form is quite specific to certain categories. Therefore, it is assigned to certain officers or staff who are looking at the web form as and how it flows. There is a reason, there's a purpose of why the categories have been defined. So there's no point in just raising a web form with any category. If there is no category for TR to PR, is because there is no file number that have been issued yet. But now, as and how the file numbers will start coming in, you will then be able to submit your web forms. I hope by that time they would create the category for the TR to PR on the web form, and you will be able to submit your documents that have been missing. So until such time, just hold on a bit, because nothing's going to change otherwise. Great. Milan Patel, you're awesome. You're awesome as well. Thank you so much. Well, let's see who else is here. Aniruddha, sorry, I'm sorry, not Anuradha, Aniruddha, sorry, my bad. Anirudh, if I get work permit and land in Canada, would it expedite, fast track my PR application? GCMS indicates all stages cleared and approved. I would be physically present in Canada. Well, the logic says that yes, your application may, quote unquote, may be fast tracked. And it's not about fast track. It's just that what's happening. So while you're asking this question, let's also attack this other situation, which a lot of people have been asking, as to what's happening with their application that's still in the pipeline. So if you haven't seen my video, which I just did a few days back about Canada reopening, well, then let me just reiterate again and tell you that the applications at this point of time are not being finalized in most cases. And the reason is, if they will finalize your application, there is an ongoing travel restriction. Because of that travel restriction, you cannot travel. Because you cannot travel, it doesn't make sense for them to finalize your application, because, hey, it's going to expire. Once it expires, you will then ask for extension, for renewal. It's a lot of work for everybody and all concerned. And therefore, the best option, or it's a logical thing to do, would be to hold the processing, to hold the finalization of applications. Now, this process is basically cut short if you are already in Canada, because in that case, travel restrictions do not apply to you, and they can obviously do this new portal acceptance that they have been doing for quite some time now. If you're in Canada, IRCC will issue you a portal access whereby you can upload your photograph, and then your PR card can be applied, and you will get your COPR by email or in your IRCC account, which is amazing. So that way, no visa stamping, no flag polling, no going in and out of the country, and all those additional factors are cut short, and you don't need to do that. So yes, of course, if you are in Canada, expect your application to be finalized versus having to wait endlessly, that people have been waiting for almost 2 years now in some cases even more. So that is the situation. Mukomo says, but boss, what about the points being deducted for age and IELTS expiring? Well, if that question is in relation to your application already submitted, if your application is already submitted, every single thing, every factor in your application is locked at the time you submit your application. So if you are growing older, which we all are, of course, and if your IELTS is expiring, your ECA is expiring, it doesn't matter, because it should have been valid on the day you submitted your application. Okay. That was that. Let's see the next one. Go in, gone. Medical and bio confirmed November 2020. I don't know what you mean by confirmed, so I'm assuming you've passed. your medicals. French, PNP, Nova Scotia, any idea when confirmation if we get PR so we can take some decision in life? We are not in a hurry to travel, but just to know where we stand. I can't tell you where you stand in your application because, to be very honest, I don't know. So yeah, you can order GCMS notes to understand if your application processing is ongoing. But as I just said, they are not finalizing the applications at this point of time. But on the good news, yay! Yes. Canada will be reopening soon. And I am saying will, and I'm not saying may. There's a big difference in will and may, right? Will means it's going to happen for sure at some point of time. May means, well, it may happen, it may not happen. So I'm saying Canada will reopen. And the reason why I'm saying they will reopen is because, thankfully, the number of cases are on the way down. Vaccination program, though a bit slow as per the expectations, a lot of us in Canada, it's still catching up speed. A lot of people, I think 60% have already got their first dose. The second dose program has also started, I think starting from next week. Ontario, on that note, has claimed that all the residents in Ontario will be able to complete their second dose as well before August, or rather by the end of August, which is just about the end of summer, if you would go by the calendar. So that's great, right? If most people can get their second doses of the vaccination done, well, then you will have a larger community of vaccinated people in Canada. That will then go in line with what Justin Trudeau had said earlier, that they would like to see at least 75% of residents in Canada to be vaccinated before they can think about reopening. But we are moving fast towards that target of 75%, if at all you want to, go with that. But there are confirmed reports that Canada and United States of America, whose borders have been blocked, or rather not blocked, but whose borders have been restricted for non-essential travel for almost 14 months. I think quite probably longest ever. I mean, I don't know the history that well, but I would say probably the longest ever, because between Canada and between USA, the trade volumes are huge, right? They do almost $1 billion worth of trade every single day between the two countries, and there's a lot which moves on. So that kind of travel not happening has been affecting a lot of people, including the communities that surround the borders or the cities around the borders, because if there's no travel, a lot of things don't happen. So there is a conversation, there is an ongoing dialogue in order to start reopen the borders. And obviously, if Canada reopens the borders with the United States, then it is understood that they will also look at reopening the borders with everybody else. Now, what does that mean? Okay, and this is in relation to what this question is from Go and Gone, and obviously a lot of other people also who've been asking the similar question. What that means is, once the borders open, then holding people back for any reason doesn't make any sense anymore, right? What that would basically mean is people who got their COPRs, have valid COPRs, post 18 March COPRs, etc., should be able to travel because there are no more travel restrictions, or because the travel restrictions are less stringent. Then you should start seeing the finalization of your applications also. So all the pipeline which is totally clogged and jammed, that should start getting eased up, and you should start seeing more applications getting eased through and coming through, and we can see more celebratory messages on our Facebook group. Obviously, everybody wants to know when. Well, to put some timelines and dates to it, again, timelines and dates are not definitive because I don't know. I mean, I'm not a decision maker. People who are deciding obviously know the timelines better, but they will be ranging starting from July end onwards is when I start looking at when you could expect US and Canadian borders to sort of have some sort of ease. Based on that, you would see some more ease out of the international borders. But obviously, all of this is subject to what's happening across the world as far as coronavirus or as the pandemic is going on, right? So what is the situation elsewhere will also define how the travel restrictions go on. As you all know, the flights from India and Pakistan, as of right now, the direct flights into Canada are, as of right now, banned. There is no air passage for travelers between the two countries, or between India, Pakistan, and Canada. So this is basically because of the high number of cases that happened in India. So therefore, the ongoing ease in restrictions will always be keeping in mind what's happening with the condition outside. But based on the fact that US is running forward or running fast with their vaccination program, Canada is running fast and forward with their vaccination programs, we obviously tend to sort of look at it more positively to see something will happen in these two. I mean, something will happen very quickly with this. So yeah, to give the timelines, I think July end is what I'm looking at prospectively, the border restrictions to ease. And from there on, everything would sort of start flowing. What will happen then? You start looking at, when the restrictions ease up with other countries, you start looking at the travel being flowing a bit more freely, and therefore people being allowed to travel. To give a timeline for people, COPRs who already have COPR, when can they start traveling? I would say somewhere towards the third quarter of this year. Again, subject to the situation and conditions across the world. What is the timeline for people whose PPRs or people whose applications are still stuck in the pipeline? I would say that you can start seeing some progress or changes again towards the third quarter, moving into the fourth quarter kind of a thing. You'll start seeing that something, that the movement is there. And that brings us to FSW Draws, something which is like on top of so many people's minds, right? What's happening with the FSW Draws? When will the FSW Draws, start? When can we expect? Again, because Canada has been looking at inside Canada, they were looking inside to sort of fill up the immigration quota. And again, if you see, based on the trends last year also, when the COVID cases were shooting up, they sort of restricted the draws to CEC only. When the things started looking a bit more in control, it wasn't in control, but when they started looking a bit more in control, they did resume the all program draw. So I think you would have to start looking at the same thing, because keep in mind, just because the draw happened now does not mean that those people will come in tomorrow, right? So even if the draws happen, there is a cycle to be followed. Application processing application processing will take time, and then the people will have to travel and etc. So you're looking at nearly 1 year after the draws happen when those people start, coming in, give or take, of obviously few. With that in mind, I again do start looking at even the federal skilled worker draws, or rather the all program draws, to start coming in some form of normal flow again towards the third quarter. It definitely, I would be the happiest, trust me, and you'll be seeing me all jumping with joy and excitement, in excitement, if it happens earlier, because hey, what can be better than that? But third quarter is where, again, everything is all. And if you see my past videos, I think I've been shouting, I've been saying the same thing for the last few months, that third quarter is what has the key. Third quarter is where Canada was looking to prospectively vaccinate most of the people. That has been the kind of a timeline that most people are working with, considering when everything sort of not. It won't become normal. I don't think things will become normal for a long time to come, but that's when you can start seeing some sense of normalcy returning. So that's basically what I would expect. But I am, as you know, forever hopeful. There you go. It's there. Yeah. And because I am forever hopeful, I sort of keep this prospective and positive thing in the mind that yes, things will definitely get better. They have to get better. We all know they get worse before they get better, right? And things have really gotten worse in so many places. But from here on, I think it's only going up. People are now used to doing things within this pandemic, within this situation. And yeah, definitely things will start looking up. So I've answered your question for COPR travel. I've answered your question for when the borders are opening. I've answered your question for FSW draws. I've answered the question for when will the PPRs start flowing in. So any of those questions I've already answered. Again, if you already posted those questions, I will not be looking at. Okay, there is one question on Instagram which says from Astha, what is IRCC doing for expired COPRs, giving ALs or giving new PPRs? Well, Astha, if your visa is already expired, then IRCC will need to give you a new PR visa, or they can also issue an authorization to travel, which will state that you can travel using this document. It has been different with different people. In some cases, they've had to ask for the passport to be sent back because they needed to sort of cancel the old one or the old COPR. But in either which ways, in either condition, if they do send you a new authorization to travel or a new request to send the passport back, in both cases, it's promising. But if they ask you to send the passport back and they stamp your new visa and issue a new COPR, and if they don't give you the authorization to travel, then again, you get stuck. So it's always better to have an authorization to travel. Okay, another question on Instagram says, do you think the backlog applications of FSW will be processed in an order? No, not at all. They are never processed in an order. Okay, and the reason why they are not processed in an order is because there cannot be an order. The order is only followed up till the R10. At R10 completeness check, it's first in, first out kind of a thing, because they first need to be ensured that all the applications are the way they should be, as in they should be complete. And that is usually done at CIO, Centralized Intake Office, Nova Scotia, Sydney. That's where the R10 usually done. Now, that's where they will follow first in, first out. And after that, depending on which visa office is assigned to handle the applications, their workload, the unique factors in that particular application, what's not happening, what's good, what's bad, what are complications, that will define how soon or how much time that application is going to take. So no, there is no order to be followed, that only because this application has come forward, let me only complete this. No, it doesn't work like that, because there could be several different things that would be needed in a particular application that may not be needed in the other application. And again, as I said, visa offices in different countries, different geographical locations, even inside Canada, all of that will make any difference. For example, if you're assigned for a visa office in a particular country, in a particular city, and now that city is under lockdown, like what's happening in New Delhi, and the staff cannot go in and out, or there are restrictions. I mean, even if somebody else applied after you, but you have now applied before them, but you are now stuck in this visa office, somebody else will get their process because that visa office is working. So all those factors will also come into consideration when they are processing the application. Iman says, do the medicals must be valid all the time after submitting my PR documents, or only at the time of submission? Your medicals need to be valid at the time you submit your application. Okay, but in order for IRCC to issue your visa, your medicals still need to be valid, because the validity of your visa or your COPR is linked to the validity of your medicals, which are usually for 12 months. The validity is 12 months. But lately, they have been extending the validity. They have been extending it from 6 months to 1 year period. So depending on what your condition is, you could expect that medicals to be extended. Okay, there were some. Yes. Shrikant Purohit, thank you for the super chat, my friend, but I'm sorry, I don't see the question. So I really don't know what to answer that. Manmeet Singh, thank you for the super chat. Do I need medical for my Canadian-born child for PR application in TR to PR program? No, my friend, you do not need medicals for your Canadian-born child, because your Canadian-born child would be a Canadian citizen. And because your child is a citizen already, you will not need medicals for your Canadian child. Okay. Nitlesh says, different scenario from FSW. I'm not sure what that refers to, so we're going to just sort of skip that. Jayesh Donga says, can I withdraw my TR to PR application if I am now eligible for CEC Express entry? Well, I don't see any reason why you would do that. And there are a few, I'm sure there are a lot of you who are also wondering, should I apply for CEC or TR to PR? If you already have a TR to PR application, why would you withdraw it? Unless there is a big blunder that you have made in that application. There should be no reason, because keep in mind, TR to PR application is cheaper than the CEC Express Entry. Express Entry CEC, you needed Basically, the application fee is 825 Canadian dollars. TR to PR, you paid only 550 Canadian dollars. So that's already a difference of a few $100s there. That is number one. Number two, TR to PR, you've already submitted. So the application would be in process very fast. CSEC, apparently you said I am now eligible, means you still haven't got your ITA. You probably haven't submitted your application. And, it will be some time. Keep in mind, there are certain different eligibility factors and assessment factors for both application. TR to PR application, the criteria is so simple. And that would basically mean they would be able to process and assess and complete the application so much more faster. So if I was in your place and if I did not have a very good reason, I would continue with my TR to PR application. I mean, it makes all the more sense to continue with that. But different people have different reasons, right? Ritesh Chawda says, would existing situation lead to do CEC draws in future years as well after situation will be normal, which was not the case before COVID time? Well, it's very difficult to say, Ritesh, as to what IRCC will follow in future years. I don't know. I can't say, because a lot of things have changed with this pandemic, right? Everybody has realized so many different things that were never possible before. So will IRCC conduct new draws, only CEC specific draws, even in future? We don't know. We'll have to just wait and see. There has been no such statement as far as this is concerned. And we all know this was very unprecedented. There was a very clear mandate from IRCC, from the immigration minister, as to what exactly they were looking to do. Why were they doing what they were doing? Okay. So yeah. Ginny Joe says, when will travel restrictions be lifted from India to Canada, by June or by July? I don't know. I guess when things start improving in India, or the number of cases, which are thankfully going down as far as India is concerned, I guess when the numbers go much lower, then probably they will look at reopening the ban again, or rather they will resume the flights from India to Canada. Okay. More questions, plenty of questions here. Let's see who is next here. Okay, Simrat says, I have applied for BCPNP, an outland applicant, done with biometrics and medical. My husband has done remedical, submitted my DR. I don't know what DR means, but it has not been updated. Well, don't worry about it if it hasn't been updated. They will, if you have done everything that was needed to be done, then good. I mean, it will be updated at some point of time. Don't really worry about it. You need to understand that, yes, things are moving slowly. There are backlogs. There is a lot of pressure. COVID protocols do not allow the staff to be working with the same productivity levels that they were earlier working. For example, in one office, if earlier 20 people could work, with COVID protocol, now 20 people are not working, or they are not allowed to work, which basically means people have to take turns to come to the office. Or even if they're working from home, there are only so many things that they can do from home because of the access to confidential servers and files. So yeah, I mean, expect delays. Don't expect anything to happen or move fast. As long as you have submitted what you are as long as you have submitted what you were required to, don't worry about it. Naina says, what about student visa? Since FSW are not happening, would you advise we should go for student visa? Good question. You see, the thing with student visa is that it's expensive proposition. It's very expensive. 1 year of study in Canada would cost you in the range of 15,000 to 20,000 Canadian dollars as a tuition fees. In addition to that, you will also have to spend living expenses. Let's say that you are not working. Let's not consider that. Let's say you have living expenses. So you're already calculating in the range of 30 to 35,000 Canadian dollars for 1 year of study in Canada. Do you want to spend that kind of money versus waiting? Now, if the situation is such that you cannot wait, for example, you are at a score of 471, 472, and the birthday fast approaching, which basically means your scores are going to drop to 465, 466 level, which we know have been quite difficult to get, or difficult to sort of ring into, I would, if I was in your place, I would definitely take that option. If I can afford it, of course, because it's expensive. But if I could afford to wait a bit, then I would probably wait until the end of the year at least, so that I have a better understanding of which way this whole program is going. Either which ways, you cannot get admission, or I mean, you can still get admission into the September intake, but that would be too far soon. You probably can look at getting an admission into the January intake. Don't pay the fee, just hold on, just wait and see how things are going on. And then towards September, October, you could then move forward with your application, with study, or as a student, if things are not changing, if things are not moving. Apart from that, I don't know what else to say, in the sense, like, I know it is expensive, and because it is expensive, you should, may not want to spend that kind of money if it is only because of, wanting to come to Canada. Okay, Shrikant Purohit says, can I apply for home loan while waiting for COPR currently in India? Will it impact my profile? AOR is November 2020. Thank you for the super chat. You can definitely apply for home loan. It does not matter. It does not affect. It does not affect even if you haven't submitted your application, right? Even at that stage, it doesn't matter. If you have a home loan, all you need to do is be able to first declare your liabilities as part of your proof of fund documents, and then give a small explanation as to how do you intend to pay off, how are you planning to pay off these debt while you are also preparing for your arrival into Canada, and what your proof of fund situation is. It's absolutely no problem, my friend. Okay. Meher Joshi, thank you for the super chat. GCMS says security pending from February 21. Suppose they will only initiate it near or after border opening. Info sharing shows system error for us. Well, security screening sometimes does not take more than a day or two. So in a lot of cases, they are obviously not finalizing the applications in a lot of cases, because you see, if they do your security screening now, then, and they are not finalizing the applications, then the time will pass. So much time will lapse. When the time will come to do the security screen, when the time will come to finalizing your applications, they will again have to check for your inadmissibilities, which includes the security screening. Again, it's a repetitive process, or they will have to do the same thing again. So why do it now? May as well hold it till, when they're going to finalize your application. Okay. Dhruv Narang says, thank you for super chat, Dhruv. It says, is degree evaluation required for admission in Langara College? Is it required for student visa? I didn't get a response from college. No, you don't need your degree evaluation. In most cases, again, it depends on the program that you're trying to study. But in most cases, you do not need degree evaluation to be able to apply for a study permit application. If at all, it is a specific requirement from the college, they would let you know. C. Prasad, thank you for the super chat. My passport will expire next year in Feb. Should I wait for a slight chance of getting PPR by September? Should I go for my passport renewal now? You can renew your passport at any point of time. It doesn't matter. It does not affect your application handling or processing. It does not impact. As and when you do renew your application, upload a copy of your passport to IRCC so that they can update the system. Even if you have not renewed your passport, let's say you get your PPR and then you renew your passport, not a problem. Just send both the passports clipped together, your old passport, new passport. When you send it for visa stamping, IRCC will stamp your visa in your new passport. Don't worry about it. It's not an issue. Bhuvan says, how is IRCC going to deal with expired COPRs issued after March? Well, in most cases, depending on your medicals, they will approach you and ask you to either redo your medicals, or they will automatically give you an extension on the medicals and then basically extend your COPRs. If your COPRs have already been issued, they will ask you to send it back so that they can cancel it. They will ask you to send the passport back so they can cancel the old visa and stamp a new one. And that's how that will happen. Okay, in Instagram, Disha Ant says, Dishant, oh my God, don't put that Disha and Ant, man. Does it matter if the primary knock and the work experience is different from my primary education? No, it doesn't matter. For express entry, For express entry, it does not matter at all. There is a specific mention on, I think it's the completeness check website, a web page for IRCC, where it says that the employment requirements in the NOC that has been listed in the NOC, the employment requirements will not be considered when assessing your applications. What that means is usually the education or the requirement of education is mentioned in the employment requirements in the NOC. Now, when they have already clearly said that that will not be considered, it basically means it will not be considered. Means your field of education need not be the same as your work experience or as your primary NOC for express entry, only for express entry. Now, it may be a requirement for some PNPs, right? For example, Saskatchewan is extremely strict. They are like absolutely strict, like really strict. I mean, I do not know how many times I can say that, but yeah, Saskatchewan is very strict. They absolutely need you to have your work experience and your education to be in the same field. Okay, so they're absolutely strict. But it's not the case with other provinces. Ontario doesn't have that requirement. Alberta doesn't have that requirement. British Columbia, no, they don't have that requirement either. Manitoba, no. Yukon, no. Nova Scotia sometimes may. Again, it varies depending on their draw from, labor market priority draw. They may have certain conditions under which they issue under which they issue a draw. But apart from that, no, it's mainly Saskatchewan which has a big issue with the whole thing. Umang says, since Canada is reopening, can we expect Alberta to issue nominations to Outlanders? It's a great question. We have all been waiting for Alberta to resume because, accept it, we all love Alberta for the kind of program that they run. We love Alberta for the lack of transparency because nobody knows what is Alberta doing. Why are they doing what they're doing? In the sense, like, we don't even know what NOCs do they pick. It's always in the dark. Like they did a draw a few days back. They said the number of ITAs issued were like about 250 or something, and the lowest score is 300. And like, why didn't I get it? Everybody who's got a score of 300 plus is like, why didn't I get it? Understand, there are more than 100,000 people in the pool with more than 300 as a score. Only 250 people got it. What was the criteria? We don't know. So during the pandemic, Alberta had announced, in order to protect their job market, that they will only issue nominations, or they will only process nomination applications for people who are inside Alberta, not inside Canada, inside Alberta. So if you're working in Alberta, only then will they consider your application, which was a good thing to protect the interests of Albertans. But we all know that there are so many of us out there whose only hope probably is Alberta PNP nomination. Okay, so it would be very exciting for them to reopen. When will they reopen? We don't know. But Alberta also has announced that they are also looking to become normal as far as the province is concerned. Their vaccination numbers are high. Their reopening of the lockdown is in progress. They are going to reopen the province very soon. Things look quite promising and prospective there. And with that, you could expect that they would at some point of time reopen the program to outsiders as well. When is something we don't know. That is something which Alberta has to announce at some point of time. Ishank, thank you for the super chat. You say, file is approved. Any chance of landing in Canada in 2021? AOR Feb 2020. I don't know. Okay. It all has to flow with the sense of, first, your application has to be finalized. It has to be issued, as in your PPR, your COPR has to be issued. And then we have to hopefully, go with the fact that the travel restrictions are no longer applicable. Hope, yes, I am hopeful. Yes, if your application is approved, I am hopeful that you probably will be able to travel this year. But how much time it will take from the time that they start finalizing the applications till the time you're able to issue your PR visa and COPR, and by the time you're able to travel, is something which is very difficult to say. Okay. Manmeet, thank you for the super chat. My wife forgot to mention prescribed medicine in medical exam. Will that be an issue? No, I don't think that will be an issue. No, it will not be an issue because though you are expected to disclose that to the medical practitioner, but no, I don't think it would be an issue. Tushar says, what about people whose GCMS shows approved? Whenever we get PPR, how long does it stay valid? We have not received any update for remedicals. Well, I can't tell you what about them. What I can tell you is that at the time when they have decided they are going to finalize your application, one, they will check you again for inadmissibilities, because that is very important. In inadmissibilities, they will be checking for your medicals again. If your medicals are valid, excellent. If they can extend your medicals, excellent. If they cannot extend your medicals, they will ask you to redo your medicals. Once they have received the remedicals, then they know it's valid. At that point of time, if they are finalizing the applications, then they will go ahead and finalize your application. All right. Hayati says, will there be any chance like PNP applications can be processed quickly compared to express applications as their file is already scrutinized once in past? No. And the reason for that is a lot of people are of the belief that because a province has assessed their application, IRCC will do it faster. Why? They are two different entities. They are two different organizations. All right. A province has assessed your application based on the criteria and requirement for the province. Okay. IRCC is going to assess your application based on the criteria and requirement for IRCC. Two different things altogether. On the contrary, there have been so many cases where a PNP was approved, a nomination was given with a set of work experience documents, but the same application was refused by IRCC because they did not accept the same work experience documents. Probably they did not think the knock matched. The knock, as far as province was concerned, it matched. For IRCC, it did not match. So you have to be very aware and careful about these things. Sometimes the provinces are more flexible. Maybe your NOC is overlapping two different, occupation codes. You chose one. Province will say, okay, it doesn't matter. I think it's fine. But IRCC may not say that. So no, it absolutely does not mean that because your application has been assessed by a province, IRCC will say, okay, they have done it. On the contrary, because it's a PNP application, there are certain additional steps that IRCC needs to take. And if they have any doubt, they actually need to reach back to the province and check with them for any missing factors, for any requirements, for any conditions that have not been explained or cleared in your application. Okay. Anjali on Instagram says, when shall OINP draws be conducted? Well, Anjali, Ontario is already conducting the EIO draws or for their streams. So you should check out the Ontario website and see which all draws they have been conducting, and you'll find it all there on their website. It's there. Nishant says, AOR received in Feb 21. Can we expect COPR this year? I just answered that. Probably you remind this and take a look at it again. Dr. Kurlan Sheba says, I'm a dentist from India looking out for federal skilled worker draw. If Canada looks for OID NOCs in future, will I get scope since I need to get a license to practice dentistry in Canada? Good question. What she is referring to, my friends, is that, how do I say this? Earlier, few weeks back, Canada tabled its budget. In the budget, there was obviously allocation for immigration. And in that, the immigration minister also mentioned that they are looking to make changes to express entry so that the minister will then have the discretion of inviting people with certain labor market priorities in mind. Okay. So in English, what that meant was that they were looking to prioritize certain occupation codes at the time of inviting those candidates. So you could probably look at what Ontario does, right? So Ontario has a CRS range. They have certain occupation codes, and then they invite those people. Or what Nova Scotia does. Nova Scotia basically goes out to the express entry pool, identifies a knock code, and then invites those people. Or what Alberta does, again, right? They identify certain occupation codes, identify a CRS score, and then invite those people. Will express entry also do that? Well, we all know that express entry has become very difficult for a lot of people because, as of right now, it seems or it feels that only 29-year-old and below are the best candidates, right? So if you're a 29-year-old person, if you have a master's degree, if you have 3 years of work experience, if you have an IELTS score of CLB 9, 8777, you will have a score of 469. That is provided you have no Canadian connection, no sibling in Canada, no French. So I'm just giving you a basic profile of an individual. If you were to score better in your IELTS in 1 or 2 factors, you score better. You get CLB 10 in 1 or 2 factors. Your scores go up by 3 for each factor. So a maximum score that any individual with the age of 29 and below, master's degree, 3 years work experience, CLB 10, no Canadian connection, no sibling in Canada, the maximum you can score would be 481. So what happens to all the people who are not 29 years and younger? Okay, so if you're 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, I mean, is Canada not going to happen for you? I mean, because there are only so many PNP options, right? Forget about all those agents and consultants and lawyers who keep giving you these stupid and ridiculous scam and fraudulent promises saying that PNP will happen for you. We will put your file in PEI. We'll put your file in this PNP, etc., etc. There are very, very few PNPs where the options are, and even those PNPs are now flooded with the number of profiles, and therefore the scores are high. So what happens to people who are not able to get through because of the age? Now, in this particular scenario, a lot of people are obviously frustrated and upset because the age is not on their side, and Canada does not acknowledge or recognize work experience more than 3 years for points, right? 3 years means that's all you get in express entry. So under that, I personally feel that this labor market priorities is a good idea because it sort of identifies certain occupations. And in those occupations, people, even with the lower, so it would not be 470, 471 anymore. It would be probably lower than that. And more people, based on their work experience, based on their occupation code, would be able to, get through, which I personally feel is a good way to go. But which occupation codes, and that was the question that came from the doctor, the dentist who was on Instagram with us, and she wants to know, would dentists be eligible, or would dentists get that kind of invitation? Well, I can't say that because I don't know. We do not know. As of right now, this was just a proposal. It hasn't been approved. It hasn't been structured. It hasn't come into force. It will take time before it sort of comes out in front of everybody. As and when it is announced, as and when this is disclosed, and as and when this has been beaten up, trust me, we will all come and discuss about it. Until such time, it's futile to stress yourself and worry that will your knock code be included or not. In the meantime, if you are in that range, if you're in the range of scores of 460s, okay, my recommendation to you would be to take up French as a second language. And yes, hold on, I know, don't jump off the bed with that. I know it's a difficult language. Trust me, until now I can only manage 2 words, and I still struggle with merci beaucoup, right? I'm not good with languages, but and I'm sure a lot of you out there might not be. It's not easy to grasp a new language from the beginning and get on with it, right? So when I'm saying take French as a second language, what do I mean? What I'm trying to say is that in French, reading and writing are difficult, okay, because grammar comes into place. Speaking and listening is relatively easier, okay? Now, what I'm trying to say is that even if you can score well in speaking and listening, 2 factors only, there is a possibility of adding these 6 points to your score. This is provided that you already have a CLB 10 in your IELTS. So if you do not have CLB 10, That should be your first aim, to try and improve your scores to CLB 10. In addition to that, if you can also add these very valuable 6 points from the French stream for speaking and listening, okay, not reading and writing, forget about reading and writing, it'll take too much time. I know of people who have been able to do this, speaking and listening, in a span of 2 to 3 months, okay. The benefit that you will have is not only will you be able to add 6 points to your CRS score, but in addition to that, you will also have got a certain fluency in the language, which you can use once you come to Canada. Finding a job is going to be that much more easier. Even looking for employment, if you come to Canada and then you become PR and you want to move to Quebec, that also becomes an option. Trust me, several other doors open up in the long run of long scheme of things. So consider that, okay? But don't worry yourself as to which knock code will be ruled out, which will be included, which will not be included. That is something which we'll have to wait and see. It's in future. We don't know what future holds. As of right now, let's just worry about what's happening today. Okay. We have lots of super chats here. We need to clear those first. Okay. Ishan Sharma says, thank you for super chat, Ishan. My knock 5241 and my CRS is about 429. Is there any way I can get a PR? After your video regarding not going with agents selling Alberta and Nova Scotia, I've been worried of applying. Am I eligible? Your knock is 5241. Hold on. I'm not sure what is. Usually I know my knocks on top of my head, but 5241 is not something which I've come across earlier. So I'm going to just take a look at what is 5241. Graphic designers. Okay, excellent. You should check out self-employed stream. If at all you have work experience as a self-employed individual, I think that is the stream you should look at. If you have 2 years of work experience in the last 5 years, that is something which you can look at. If not, look for a job offer. If not, look at French as a second language. Those would be your prospective options. Akash Agarwal, thank you for the super chat. I am a CEC inland applicant with 1 outland dependent. Okay. Currently, I'm working on a closed work permit and looking for changing employers. Do I need to inform IRCC with updated job offer? Will it impact PR application? Because you are a CEC applicant, you don't need to inform IRCC about your changing of employment. And the reason for that is your application is based on your past work experience, which has already happened in history, which has already happened in your past. What you're going to do in future in terms of your job, etc., it doesn't matter. Even if you leave Canada and go away now, it doesn't matter. Your application will continue. All you will need to do is inform IRCC about your change in residence. But apart from that, you don't need to do anything at all. Okay. Shubham, thank you for the super chat. If the CRS is 430, file is in pool, learning French and giving good TF, good option. How much time learning French takes? Okay. Learning French and scoring well in French to get you those maximum points can be quite beneficial. Okay. You could add almost 50-60 points additional in your profile. That's number one. Number two, if you have French in your profile, certain PNP options also open up. Nova Scotia is known to have invited people who have French in their profiles. Saskatchewan gives you 10 additional points for French, up to 10 additional points. Ontario has a specific French speakers stream. So you see so many other provinces or PNP programs will also open up if you are a French speaker. So yeah, that is something which you should definitely take a look at. Jagrup says, forgot to add pay stubs TR to PR stream. Well, I do not know what you are referring to. If you forgot to add your pay stubs, what you can do, but if you did provide a proper comprehensive employment letter and you provided your T4s or your notice of assessment, then you're fine. If you did not, then once you get a file number, you can use the web form and upload them. Okay. And question from Sheenam, how do I call non-accompanying spouse to Canada? Well, to call your non-accompanying spouse to Canada, he or she can apply for a visit visa. Depending on your status in Canada, you can also, rather, he or she could also apply for an open work permit. Again, depending on your status in Canada, you can sponsor your spouse under the family spousal sponsorship application. So those will be the ways how your spouse can come to Canada. Or obviously, your spouse can also apply individually for express entry or PNP programs or for work permit through an employer in Canada. Patel says, why paper-based application are always delayed by IRCC? Oh, good question. Well, the reason why that happens is because it is a much longer process. The paper application takes that much more time in assessment and processing. The different visa office has been assigned. It first will need to be, once it gets to the respective visa office, they will first need to check for your assessment. Then they will need to upload or scan all the documents. And then it basically moves at a very snail's pace to different visa offices before they can take a call. Let's just say that express entry was meant to overcome that particular situation, and therefore they had the whole online system. But now paper applications can, rather the PR applications which were earlier applied using a paper application can now be applied online as well. And hopefully that will then reduce this period of time that the paper applications take. Okay, Bhuvan says, no blanket exemption for expired COPRs as recently recommended by House of Commons. First of all, House of Commons did not make the recommendation. It was the Standing Committee on Immigration Matters that proposed this in the House of Commons. There's a huge difference, guys. Don't confuse yourself. You know, there are a lot of YouTubers who make all these kind of YouTube videos and sort of give you so understand what is being done. It's a Standing Committee of Immigration Matters which has presented to the House of Commons a proposal. Government will have to revert back to this in 90 to 120 days as to what they think is feasible, what they think is not feasible. Government of Canada is under no obligation to accept these proposals. These will be accepted based on the viability, on the feasibility, and how much sense it makes, how much cost it involves, etc., etc. As of right now, though it is a recommendation, there is no clear mandate that something like this will happen or will it be accepted or not. Ariz says, I have a question about background check taking place in the beginning of the application or at later stage. Received update from embassy saying my daughter biometric proof if good news. Okay, I didn't understand that question at all, but if you're asking when does the background check happens, it usually happens after the eligibility has been completed in your application. Gunjan says, as per GCMS, our application from 2019 is approved, but I left my job after that, but I have not informed IRCC. Should I worry about it? Well, if you are a federal skilled worker, your employment does not really matter. If you left your job, that's fine. No problem about it. Okay. Nilesh says, forever hopeful. Yes, my friend, stay forever hopeful. Approved inland PR applicant stuck in India with expired WP and TRV. Now they change my status from inland to outland. ECOPR issued last year, now cancelled due to not present in Canada. What's the question? There is no question there. Well, your situation is I mean, I can feel the pain there. But yeah, it is what it is. Now that you're outland, you will have to wait for them to complete the processing. As and when the travel restrictions are eased, you will then be able to complete your application, hopefully get a new PR visa and COPR, and then return back to Canada as a permanent resident. All the best. Okay. Jagrup says, I did not provide any T4 or NOC along NOA, you mean, along with TR to PR. What is better to submit another application under Essential or wait for AOR? If you did provide an employment letter but did not provide pay stub, that's fine. Provide the pay stub once you get a file number in your application. Don't worry about it. Okay. Ritik says, thank you for super chat. I worked as a cashier in fast food store. Am I eligible for TR to PR if 6 to 10 main duties and lead statement matches with the NOC code? Well, if your NOC code is matching with your chosen occupation, or rather your occupation matches with the chosen NOC code, then yes. You see, there is no percentage of match that is required. What is required is that your lead statement must match, or the activities in the lead statement must match, number one. Number two, you should be, or rather you should have performed all or substantial number of essential duties. Okay, that is what is important. So 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 4 out of 10, that is that is irrelevant. If somebody was to read your document, by reading your document, if it says you're a cashier, then a document should say that you're a cashier. However, a fast food store, there is no cashiering position. Okay, usually it's the same person who's a food counter attendant who also takes the cash from the customer. It's not a separate duty or job per se in most fast food centers, fast food stores. So please make sure that you really are a cashier. By cashier, you could probably be a cashier in a supermarket or a department store. That would probably be a cashier's job. It may not necessarily apply to the fast food counter of our fast food store. So please make sure that you do comply, or rather that you are choosing the right knock code for your application. Thank you, Rahul. I do have a Canadian 1-year experience, 2-year diploma, again from Canada. I got bankrupt while I was in Canada. I'm applying through FSW for immigration. Can it be a problem? My score is 480. No, it's not a problem at all. Being bankrupt is not a crime. You're fine, my friend. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. Shoaib says, I'm turning 32 on the 29th of July and I complete my CEC 1-year experience on September. Can I enter EE stream in July and get an ITA and submit my doc in September? How would you do that? I mean, if you haven't completed your 1 year of work experience, you will complete in September. How would you get into the pool in July? I mean, July, August, September, you still have 2 more months to go after that, right? Yeah, I mean, create your express entry profile. If the system automatically gives you the ITA, if they calculate your work experience in a manner that you do get an ITA, well, you are one lucky bloke. But if that doesn't happen, then you will have to wait till you complete your work experience, right? Okay, lots of questions on the Instagram. Senduragan says, will you help in visit visa for parents? Well, we are a full-fledged licensed immigration company. I am an ICCRC licensed immigration consultant. So yes, by all means, reach out to our team, support@askkubeir.com. Drop us an email, then yeah, we'll be happy to come back to you on that. Okay, Inderpal says, what if wife is primary applicant and home loan and personal loan is the name of husband and not declared in application? Well, Inderpal, if you haven't declared it, it's a wrong thing, because as far as the application is concerned, you were supposed to declare your liabilities, but it's not an issue because these, as you said, are home loan. So I don't see that as an issue at this point of time. Lynn Harris says, I had given my ITA docs, I don't know what that means, and my PNP expires on 39. How long will it take for me to get a reply? And what happens if my nomination expires before I get a reply? Well, if you are saying that you have submitted your application, you have an AOR, then you are fine. As long as your nomination was valid at the time you submitted your application, you're absolutely fine. There is no problem. Don't worry about the expiration of your nomination. JH Parmar says, can I apply for computer discipline after MCA for onward game MCA and today 3 years? I'm sorry, I absolutely did not understand that question. Utpan says, I ordered GCMS notes. In page 2 of these notes, it says request not started. What are these other requests? I can't tell you. GCMS notes are a complex set of documents which are meant to be read, in tandem with your application. Just by picking up one small section of the notes, if you come and say, what does this mean? I don't know, to be very honest. There are so many other things that you need to figure out and check and read up before you can say, what does not started in this particular section mean? Jaspreet Singh says, I'm a lawyer in India. I just want to know how can I work as a licensed immigration consultant or immigration lawyer in Canada? Well, first things first, you need to come to Canada. You need to be a permanent resident of Canada. As an RCIC, which is Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant, you will need to complete a mandatory education program in immigration law. You need to pass that program. Once you've completed and passed that program, you will need to take IELTS. You will need to score at least CLB 9 academic in IELTS. And after you've done that, you will have to then register with ICCRC. Okay. Then you will have to take their examination, which is quite stringent, 140 questions to be completed within 3 hours. And if you pass, then you will have to register yourself and apply for membership with ICCRC. They will do your background check. They will ask for your police clearances. And if they are happy, then you will be able to join them, or rather then you will become an ICCRC licensed immigration consultant. So that's what it takes. But if you're a lawyer, you obviously first need to do your bridging, then you need to do your internship, then you need to before that, you basically need to do your bar. You have to pass the bar exam in Canada. Once you become a lawyer in Canada, then you will be able to practice as an immigration lawyer in Canada. Oh boy. Okay. Dharmesh, thank you for super chat. Is it okay to change NOC before ITA? Yeah, absolutely. Change as many times as you want. No problem with that. You don't need any LOE, nothing. I mean, your EE profile is your expression of interest. So if you want to change your NOC, by all means, go ahead and change as many times as you want. Do ECA report from PEBC provide master's equivalency for pharmacy graduate student? Will I get a master's score for EE and SINP? Well, ECA report from PEBC does not give you master equivalency. Do not mistake that. What it gives you is PEBC, if they find your education to be of the right equivalency, they will give you the equivalency of a professional degree. Okay, not a master's degree. It gives you equivalency of a professional degree, which, by the way, have same points which are equal to a master's degree points in express entry. Therefore, obviously, you cannot claim for it to be a master's degree in SINP. So understand the difference. PEBC will only give you the equivalency of a professional degree. It is not a master's degree. Professional degree will give you the same points of a master's degree in express entry only. However, for SINP, it will be either bachelor's or master's, whatever is the equivalency. Okay. Thank you, Nivi, for the super chat. I have submitted my PR application under the PNP programs. Biometric is yet to be done and it is stalled because of VAC closure. Will my file be delayed because of bio? Well, obviously, until you complete your biometrics, your application is not going to move forward from where it already is. But it seems that it has already cleared the art and checks. That's the reason why you would have got biometrics. Now, it would not delay as such. I mean, as of right now, applications are just not being finalized anyways at this point of time, right? So it is hardly a concern at this point of time. Whenever VACs or VFS does open in India, go ahead and get your biometrics done and don't worry too much about this delay. It is what it is, right? It is happening. These things are now something which you have learned to live with. So just get it done, stay safe. That should be more important for you. And no, the application will still go on. It will still be processed, but there will be certain aspects of your application which cannot be completed until they complete your biometrics. Your criminality, your info sharing, and your security checks, none of this can be done until your biometrics are done. Okay. Where else? Karan says, I am 459 with NOC 0124, waiting for Ontario nomination. My IELTS is expiring in July. What is the possibility? I don't know. I can't say because there is no way to estimate or predict, when Ontario will conduct their draws. I mean, they do not follow a defined timeline that I will do a draw after every few weeks or after every few months. So whenever it does happen, fingers crossed, I hope you get your ITA. Okay, we did this, Dharmesh. Amit says, please help. Part-time experience can be counted, salary on cash. Yes, absolutely. Part-time experience, I mean, it is mentioned so clearly in so many areas of your application, in Express Entry website as well, CIC website as well. Part-time work experience can be calculated. It's equivalent. Okay, so basically what it means is that 30 hours is considered full-time. If you have worked 15 hours, you will need to work for 2 years for it to be counted as 1 year of work experience. And cash salary is also acceptable. There is no problem. You will just need to prove that you were paid in cash. So cash vouchers, cash, copies of cash registers, salary certificate, pay stubs, yeah, a letter from your company saying that you were being paid in cash, all of that will help. GS Har, thank you for the super chat. I'm primary applicant with NOC 0124. Husband's NOC is 1111, which is more in demand. Is there a possibility to get PNP invitation based on non-primary applicant NOC code? No. Non-primary applicant, a dependent applicant's foreign work experience is totally irrelevant in any part of the application. And no, it does not give you any advantage. It is not considered. There is nothing there for you to sort of, add up and say, how can that give me any benefit? Yeah, there is nothing there. Sorry. Divya says, I'm a CEC inland applicant with one outland. My spouse is planning to come to Canada by this year. Is it good to apply SOWP as a backup option considering prolonged processing time? Well, yes, of course, you can apply for open work permit. However, open work permit application processing times are equally long. I mean, I think about 6 to 8 months is what a spouse open work permit is taking at this point of time. Oh boy, a lot of questions in Instagram as well. Okay. Sissy says, I've got an invitation for VE Manitoba. I don't know. I'm not sure what it means, but due to the visa delays, I want to jump to SINP by changing NOC. Do you recommend to do so? If you have an invitation for Manitoba, why do you want to let go of that and jump to Saskatchewan by changing your NOC? Why? I mean, you have an invitation, complete your application. You will leave this one, you will jump to Saskatchewan, which is also taking a long time. Saskatchewan is they don't process faster. And then you will change your NOC. This does not sound right anyways. Okay. Brian says, can I come to Canada with travel visa and file PR while staying in Canada? Yes, it's absolutely possible. No problem with that. However, as of right now, you can't travel to Canada for non-essential purposes. So yeah, that won't work. Okay. Can I pursue my Gautam Safal says, can I pursue my full-time job while simultaneously taking online classes in India? Is that legal? Would that be a problem for PR? No, absolutely. You can. It's not illegal. Would that be a problem? No, it is not a problem. So yes, you can work while you are studying outside Canada. No problem. That work experience can be counted. That can be added. No problem with it. Full-time, part-time, it does not matter. No problem there at all in any which ways. Okay, another good question, I think, which a lot of people are concerned with. Gurpreet, what is the future of Express Entry? We'll just get to that in a minute. Another important question on Instagram. It says, please, how do I get a reference letter from my former employer, which is a school that closed down due to COVID-19? I have an old reference letter that they gave me in 2018. Well, because you have an old reference letter, use it. Prove that you were working in that school for as long as the school was open and while you were still working. Prove it by way of pay slips, pay stubs, bank statements, provide your income tax returns. And if you can get hold of your headmistress, headmaster, supervisor, superintendent of the school, then have them write you an additional document or a letter in their personal capacity, get it notarized and use that document. Good question. Gurpreet Singh, what is the future of Express Entry? If my crystal ball, if that was working and I could sort of look into it and peek into it and give you all the information, where I would be sitting today, I would be sitting on a casino table in Las Vegas at this point of time and, just jamming it there, buddy. But what is the future of Express Entry? What do the cards tell us? What does the crystal ball tell us? What does the tarot cards tell us, right? Well, future looks bright, to be very honest. The cards are all looking nice. As I said, that there there are proposed changes. The changes have not been disclosed. The changes are proposed. Again, mind you, there are lots of discussions going on in the back end with IRCC, and that indication was given when it came to the budget table. And there are also certain indications on the processing by the Standing Committee of Immigration Matters in the House of Commons. So yes, we do expect some changes in Express Entry. First of all, Express Entry is not going to close down. Okay, so for people who keep talking about the fact that Express Entry will close down, and there are agents and consultants out there who keep fooling people into registering with them or signing up with them with the fear Express Entry is going to close down, sign up now or you will lose out. No, it's not going anywhere. Express Entry is here to stay for quite some time to come. Keep in mind, Express Entry is not a program. Okay, a lot of people fool you by saying we will submit your application in Express Entry program. It is not a program. It is just a file management system. Like you have MS Word, MS Excel, Outlook, different programs, Express Entry system is just a file management system. That's it. That's the system. The program is the Federal Skilled Worker Program, Canadian Experience Class Program, Federal Skilled Trade, program. Those are the programs. Okay, so you get eligible, you become eligible in these programs, and then you apply in Express Entry using the Express Entry file management system. So that is the first difference you need to understand. So the program probably will remain the same. The system might change, and today it's called Express Entry system. Tomorrow they might call Kubeir's magical system. I don't know. I mean, they could call it anything. They could give it any kind of name, or they could call it the Canadian enter to Canada system, or anything they want to call it. So naming a new system doesn't make any difference. At the end of the day, the programs will remain there. The programs have been defined in IRPA and IRPR. IRPA and IRPR is Immigration Refugee Protection Act, Immigration Refugee Protection Regulations. These are the laws. Okay. These programs, FSW, Federal Skilled Workers, CEC, Canadian Experience Class, FSTC, Federal Skilled Trade Categories, these have all been defined in the law, by the law. Okay. So in order for these to change, the law has to change. And in order for the law to change, there has to be some very serious level, cabinet level discussion. Okay. It has to go back and forth. The cabinet has to approve. The law has to then change, and then some program might change. System, they can change at any point of time. It doesn't need any law changes, all right? But as far as the system is concerned, if it changes, it will only change for better. Maybe they will make some more changes. They will make it look better. They might bring some more enhancements. They might make it, give you more options. As it is, they're talking about giving more transparency in terms of what you can check in the system, in terms of your application, what you can see, what you can't see, what access you have, what you don't have. So that is what the system is about. It has got nothing to do with the programs as such per se. In coming times, it is being proposed that IRPA and IRPR has some provision to allow the minister to make some changes, or make some, or rather be able to, or given that discretion or given that power to invite people based on certain labor market priorities. Now that would be a change within the program. Okay, Express Entry is just a system. If that change happens within the program, it will need a lot of deliberation. It will need a lot of debate between different parties in the parliament, right, in the cabinet, before it gets to any absolute change. Once that happens, trust me, everybody will know it, right? Because that is not something which you can keep it under the wraps. And even before it is finalized, even before it is ratified, even before it is put in effect in force, there will be a lot of time before that happens. It cannot happen overnight. Okay. So as and when that kind of change happens, or as and when something drastic like that happens, we will all know quite a few months in advance, and we'll all be able to prepare, and we'll all be able to make our way around that as and when that happens. So that, my friend, is the future of Canadian Express Entry. Do you deal in job offer? I don't even know what that means. Do you mean that am I selling job offers? Is that what you're asking? Or are you asking me that do I process job offers? First of all, I am not offering any jobs. My website says very clearly we have no offers or no jobs to offer as such. Do I deal in processing LMIA applications? Yes, absolutely. As I said, we are a licensed immigration company. I'm an ICCRC licensed immigration consultant. We definitely assist employers in processing LMIA applications and for clients to file their PR applications and for their work permit applications. After the reopening, will the PR application processing time still be 9 months? Is it 9 months even now? I mean, does it say anywhere it is 9 months? Express entry was supposed to be 6 months. After the reopening, I'm hoping that it comes back to 4 to 5 months, which it usually otherwise was. I would hate for it to be 9 months at any point of time. I mean, even now it is not 9 months at all. Rhythm says, is the Ontario human capital processing time same as expected, 2 to 3 months? Are they getting delayed because of current situation? Actually, it is 2 to 3 months. We have had several clients who got their nominations inside of 2 to 3 months. Yeah, so absolutely based on experience, it is still 2 to 3 months. How about submitting applications without upfront medicals because IRCC banned all IME from India? Boom. Okay. You can absolutely submit your application without completing your medicals, because if you check IRCC website, it says very clearly that you no longer need to do upfront medicals if you or your dependents are in places where the medical centers are closed. And as of right now, medical centers in India are not processing upfront medicals. So just in the tab where it says provide your medicals, upload a letter of explanation stating that because of COVID-19 restrictions, the medical centers are not accepting upfront medicals and you are unable to complete your medicals and you need IRCC to send you an IME form in order to get your medicals done. Absolutely no problem. And that would help you get your application done as and when, to get your medicals done as and when they are ready to get it done. Manisha, thank you for the super chat. CRS is 477, NOC is 0124, age is 32. Please suggest fastest PNP program. I will lose age points for 5 points for age. And should I apply solo and then go for spousal visa? Oh, something went black. Okay. So nobody is out there waiting with a red carpet to, sort of fastest PNP kind of a thing. There is no finishing line as such. You should take whatever you get as the first and most promising option. PNPs are not easy either. How many PNPs are there which you think are inviting people? Ontario, Nova Scotia, Alberta, Saskatchewan. That's it. That's it. There is nothing else. In spite of what other people tell you, there is nothing else. You will need connection for Manitoba. You will need job offer for British Columbia, Yukon, and several others. You need, what else do you need? For Alberta and for Nova Scotia, you have to be invited. You can't do nothing about it. For Ontario, you have to have the right knock code, right score, and luck has to play a part for you to get invited, in the sense like what Ontario has been doing recently. They've been picking up profiles 467 and below, not 467 and above. Your score is 477. Even if Ontario was to do a draw today, you will not get invited based on what they've been doing. So luck has to play a part there as well. You should instead concentrate on your 477, which is a good score. Hopefully, you probably, August is when you're losing your points. 472 is what you will get. You should start looking at probably improving French or adding French as a second language. If you don't already have CLB 10, then probably adding those factors. If you can apply without your spouse, a spouse unaccompanying, go ahead and do that. You can always invite sponsor your spouse later on. Obviously, you will need to provide a good reason as to why your spouse is not accompanying. But yeah, all of these collectively is what you can do. Ankita says, PR visa expired today. Any idea when will IRCC contact again for visa renewal? Raise a web form, let IRCC know. As and when they are now ready to start processing applications, they will definitely let you know, and then you will be able to get an extension done once that happens. Which is the perfect time to land in Canada after COPR, considering the current situation? I don't know, whenever you're ready to land, you should land. I mean, I don't know what you mean by when is the perfect time. Anytime when you are comfortable, anytime when you think you're ready physically, mentally, financially, just go ahead and take the plunge, because whenever you do land in Canada, you will have to start. You will have to start from that. So the sooner you get to Canada, the sooner you can start, and off you go. Can we get job offers from a Canadian company by applying from India? Difficult, very difficult, but it's not impossible. A lot of people have got lucky with that. Tired, sorry about that. I mean, my throat's getting too dry anyways. But yes, thank you so much for having joined in. This was great. We will do this again. If you're not following me on Instagram, you guys are. But if you're not, then, see, there's an Instagram live already going on. And thank you guys on Instagram for joining in as well. So if you're not following me on Instagram, that's the link. You should use that. And come on and join us on Instagram. We do a lot of funny stories and a lot of other silly things. If you want to make an appointment, so many questions still unanswered, but if there is a specific case one-on-one, then that's the link. askkubeir.com/appointment. Make an appointment and we will chat one-on-one and understand exactly what it is that is bothering you. If you want to use our services, support@askkubeir.com. That is what you can use to sort of drop an email. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because it's a lot of hard work, and the more people subscribe, it sort of makes you feel nice. The numbers always sort of is a motivation factor. And do like and subscribe to this video if you think this was of any value to you. And stay safe, get vaccinated, so that we all can get out of this situation as quickly as possible. And I shall see you next time. Bye.